Welcome back, guys. This is Kurt Schweiger Jr. for C.D.S.P. Ghost Chaser, and I'm going through some of these Mark Twain photos, and it's amazing, some of this stuff. And I know Hal Holbrook, actor there who portrayed him, did one heck of a job on him. I think I have a Mark Twain interview here that I wanted to look at. But just going through some of these old things, unbelievable that Mark Twain was, his gravesite's right up the road here, about 26 miles, and I haven't even been up there. Unbelievable. Mark Twain claimed he got his pen name from a riverboat captain. I'm going to go here. I think I can get this interview. I'm going to try to get it. I'm not sure if I can or not. It's really cool. Mark Twain House and Museum, and it says here is a video from 1961 of Hal Holbrook conducting an interview as Mark Twain in the billiard room in the library of Mark Twain House. What a treasure. This is Mark Twain gives an interview. Alright, I gotta check this out, guys, to see if I can get it here. I hope we can see it. Awesome. I'm gonna see if I can get this so we can watch this interview. I don't know how long it is. I don't know if it's crackly. I don't know, but I gotta check it.
We have all met Mark Twain in one way or another. Most of us know the man through his works that have an honored place in American literature. Some of us have seen that rare silent motion picture of this inspired humorist whose words have delighted people the world over. But suppose we could hear him speak. Suppose on a pleasant afternoon we should visit the house in Hartford, Connecticut, where Mark Twain once lived. And suppose in the billiard room where he wrote and played, we should find him relaxing at his favorite pastime. Mr. Twain, do you mind if we disturb you a moment? There are some young friends of yours who would like to meet you.
Well,
thank you, sir. I think some of these young people would like to ask a question or two. They've never met a great author before.
oh, I'm always sorry to have my name mentioned as one of the great authors because they have such a sad habit of dying off. Chaucer is dead, so is Milton, and so is Shakespeare. And I'm not feeling very well myself.
Beautiful shot, Mr. Twain.
Great game, best game on earth.
Does it give you much exercise?
Oh, I never take any exercise, except sleeping and resting. I could never see any benefit in being tired. Come on.
Does someone want to ask Mr. Twain a question?
How old are you, Mr. Twain?
19. In June.
I believe they would like you to tell them a few things about your life.
Well, my memory is not as good as it used to be. When I was younger, I could remember anything, whether it happened or not. But I'm getting old now. Soon I shall remember only the latter. I'll forget the Lord's middle name someday, right in the midst of a storm, when I need all the help I can get.
Mr. Twain, I read that you grew up in Hannibal, Missouri. Were you born there?
I was born on the 30th of November, 1835, in the almost invisible village of Florida, Missouri. Missouri was an unknown new state then, and needed attractions.
When you were a boy, did you get into trouble like Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn?
Why, when I was a boy, I was a good boy. I was a very good boy. Why, I was the best boy in my school. But I don't know why I never heard anyone say that but myself. I always recognized it. Well, I remember the first time I ever stole a watermelon. Stole? Oh, no, I don't mean that. No, it was the first time I ever withdrew a watermelon. Retired it from circulation. No, it was the first time I ever extracted a watermelon. There's exactly the word I want. I extracted that watermelon from a farmer's wagon while he was inside negotiating with another customer. I carried that watermelon to the lumber yard, and there I broke it open. It was a green watermelon. You know, when I saw that, I began to feel sorry. It seemed to me that I had done wrong. I reflected deeply. And then I knew there was only one thing that was going to make me feel right again, inside. And that was restitution. So I gathered up the biggest fragments and I carried them back to the farmer's wagon and I restored the watermelon. And I told him he ought to be ashamed of himself going around working off his worthless green watermelons on trusting purchasers who had to rely on him. And I made him give me a good one in place of it, too. And I told him if he didn't reform, I'd see to it he got no more of my trade. Why, that man was as contrite as a revivalist's last convert. He promised he'd never again carry another green watermelon if he starved for it. And he drove off a better man. Now, do you see what I did for that depraved farmer? He was on a downward path, and I rescued him. And all I got out of it was a watermelon.
Mr. Twain, is that story really true?
Why, young lady, I am the wellspring of truth. But you can't bring up the whole well with one bucket. Truth is the most valuable thing we have. Let us economize it. You want to discount me 90% for embroidery, but what is left is perfect and priceless truth without a flaw in it anywhere.
Mr. Twain, do you think Huckleberry Finn is a classic?
A classic is a book which people praise but don't read.
I read it. Mr. Twain, did you and the other boys in Hannibal really want to be steamboatmen?
Oh, yes. Boy after boy managed to get on the river. By and by, I ran away, too. I said I would never come home again till I was a pilot and could come in glory. I love that profession far better than any I've followed since. And I took a measureless pride in it. I hope to follow the river the rest of my days and die at the wheel when my mission was ended. But by and by the war came and commerce was suspended. My occupation was gone. So I had to seek another livelihood. I became a silver miner in Nevada, a newspaper reporter, a gold miner in California, a special correspondent to the Sandwich Islands, a roving correspondent in Europe and the East, an instructional torchbearer on the lecture platform, and finally I became a scribbler of books and an immovable fixture amongst the other rocks of New England.
Mr. Twain, how old were you when you started smoking cigars?
Well, I don't remember when I first began to smoke. I came into this world asking for a light. And I expect to go out of it blowing smoke rings. I make it a rule never to smoke more than one cigar at a time. Not that I care for moderation myself. I do it as an example to others. And to pulverize those critics who say that I'm a slave to my habits. I can give it up whenever I want to. I've done it 1,000 times. I've always bought cheap cigars. Reasonably cheap, that is. 60 years ago, they cost me $4 a barrel. But my taste has improved lately, and I pay $7 now. 6 or 7, 7 I think it is. Yes, it's 7. But that includes the barrel.
Surely, Mr. Twain, you don't advise smoking for children.
Well, my habits protect my life, but they'd probably assassinate you.
You said you were a roving correspondent in Europe and the East. Did you use some of the letters that you sent back to your newspaper when you wrote Innocents Abroad?
Why, yes, I used several of them, 10 or 12, perhaps. I wrote the rest of the Innocents Abroad in 60 days. I was very young in those days, exceedingly young, marvelously young, younger than I am now, younger than I shall ever be again, by hundreds of years.
Do you mean you don't think too much of Innocents Abroad?
Well, when the Lord finished the world, he pronounced it good. That's what I said about my first work, too. But time, I tell you, time takes the confidence out of these incautious early opinions. It's more than likely that he thinks about the world now pretty much as I think about the Innocents Abroad. The fact is, there's a trifle too much water in both.
How did you enjoy your trip through Europe and the East?
Oh, wherever we went, in Europe, Asia, in Africa, we made a sensation. We always took care to make it understood that we were Americans. Americans. Why, we found that a good many of those foreigners had never even heard of America. In Paris, they simply opened their eyes and stared at us when we spoke to them in French. We never did succeed in making those idiots understand their own language.
We're going to have to leave soon, Mr. Twain. Is there any advice
This is
you'd care to
amazing,
give these young
guys.
people that you would suggest
gonna-
they follow?
Oh, yes.
Go back to some
Yes, I have
images
some
and
things in my
photos
mind
now.
which I-
Again, I mean, it is really awesome. It was just getting ready to shut down, but I just wanted to show you some more. That was Hal Holbrook doing the interview as Mark Twain. Pretty amazing, guys. I can't wait to get up there, and that's where I'm going to go. Samuel L. Clemens, Mark Twain, November 10th, 1835, April 21st, 1910. A good good picture of him. There's some really old pictures of him. Awesome though. One heck of a great man he was. The Mark Twain tours. Let us show you the town. We will escort you to our historic sites, Victorian homes, churches, museums, and so much more. Mark Twain, 1835 to 1910. Author, humorist. He is remembered not only for authoring many books, but also for his humorous maxims, quotations, and opinions. Mark Twain tour. That's pretty awesome, guys, man. Well, that's my little video tribute to the great Mark Twain, Samuel L. Clemens. So I'm just gonna get ready to sign off here, guys. But it's just pretty wonderful. It's awesome. I'm going to leave with that, and I just wanted to show that little piece with Holbrook. The interview there he did back in 1961. It was a free download, so I figured I would show it. It was pretty awesome, pretty cool. So, this is Kurt Schweiger Jr. for C.D.S.P. Ghost Chaser, and I hope to get up there to Elmira to his gravesite in his study, hopefully soon as I can. Alright guys, later.